I swear, man, I feel like the smart marks and the anti-smart marks, they have really killed the YouTube algorithm for wrestling channels. Cause let's just be honest, man. In order to blow up on YouTube as a wrestling guy that talks wrestling on YouTube, you gotta be a sellout. You have to bash the WWF in order for YouTube to push your videos in the algorithm. Because when it comes to the wrestling algorithm, if you are not bashing Vince McMahon, Raw, SmackDown, if you are not bashing the WWF, you will not get pushed on YouTube. I mean, how the hell did that WrestleMania guy, whatever his name is, why does he have 1 million subs? I don't get it. The guy never shows his face. He has a very annoying voice. Why are people watching guy? Oh, right, because he talks bad about the WWF. Why do people watch Solo Monster? He talks bad about the WWF every week, like Groundhog Day. Why do people watch that midget from New York? Because he talks bad about the WWF. That's fun for people. I have no idea why people pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars to those guys. Literally, just for you to hear them bash the WWF. That's sad, bro. That's pathetic. I would never sell out, bro. I will never sell out. I will always talk about a product based on my genuine feelings. I will never sell out. I will never whore myself for views just to bash the WWF. That's not worth it. I would never do that. I will quit YouTube in order for me to do that. I would never do it. I would just quit talking wrestling. It's sad, man. They killed the algorithm. They only push videos that are literally bashing the WWF. If you say something positive, your videos get buried. They don't push it. If you say positive stuff about AW, they will push your videos. And dude, I would never sell out. It's sad, man. People tell me, why don't you bash the WWF? You see, man, that's toxic behavior. Why do you want me to bash a company just for your enjoyment? A company should be bashed when they're doing dumb stuff, when they are obviously doing things incorrectly. That sounds like All Elite Wrestling. We should talk about that, but I can't, huh? You won't push my videos. See, people only want to hear what they want to hear. People pay tons of money to hear neckbeards talk bad about Roman Reigns, man. Literally on live stream. That's sad, man. I would never stoop to that level. It's like I would quit YouTube if I have to stoop to that level. It's like look, dog, the algorithm is toxic, man. In order to get pushed, in order to make good money on YouTube as a wrestling YouTuber, you gotta push WWE hateful content. Like a Joe Cronin. You gotta push hateful WWE content in order for people to see you in the algorithm. And I would never do that, bro. I would never sell out. Cause let's be honest, my video should be at least 10,000 views per video, but it's not. Cause the algorithm is toxic now. They only push you when you talk bad about WWF. They think the algorithm thinks people enjoy that when you bash Vince, when you bash Bruce Pritchard, when you bash booking and booking creative. If you ain't doing that, you ain't getting pushed. Wow, man. It seems like tons of people are really overexposing themselves as clowns, as very ignorant. It's like, wow, I can't believe Tony Khan put out that tasteless tweet. It's like, wow, man, you are in charge of a damn brand. You are in charge of a big time company. You're the guy who's in charge of that company? Like, wow, I can't believe he would post that tasteless tweet. This dude said, I'm now thankful for now being the new longest tenured Wrestling CEO. Like, wow, man. How tasteless is that? And it's not even true. That's the irony of it. It's not even true. It's like he acts like freaking Impact Wrestling doesn't exist. He acts like New Japan Wrestling doesn't exist. The longest tenured CEO of what company you talking about, dog? I mean, was he trying to troll? Is he trying to be serious? Just a very tasteless tweet where he's trying to take advantage of the Vince McMahon story. How tasteless is that? He's trying to use Vince McMahon's name to make people watch crappy Rampage. How tasteless is that? You're using Vince McMahon's fame to boost up your crappy show. Wow, how tasteless are you to even put that tasteless tweet out? It's like, bruh, Vince McMahon is the only reason you have a company. Where are the tweets at from you, Tony Khan? How about you congratulate Vince McMahon on a great career? Where are the positive statements about Vince McMahon? Why would you put out that tasteless tweet? Because he's gone now. You are claiming some kind of fake ass throne? Like, wow, man, are you that desperate? Are you that much of a mark for yourself? What is it about that company where everybody is so awful at social media? And you are the owner, the leader of that company, and you post that? It's like, bro, you are the prime example of you do not lead by example. Like, what's going on here for you to post something that tasteless? But look, stuff like that is a reason why people don't take AEW seriously. Their head guy in charge is a child in a grown man's body. Let that sink in. So many people are being exposed. Especially that little midget from New York. Wow, man. Talk about another guy who is a 10-year-old in a 40-year-old man's body. This dude is celebrating, and he is actually gloating over Vince McMahon retiring. This dude actually said this is the greatest moment in WWF history. Are you insane? Why? Why is this the best moment in history? Are you that much of a mark? It's like, once again, I do not call out small channels. I call out big channels like that who have toxic voice that can brainwash kids, that can brainwash the majority of the wrestling fandom. He needs to be stopped. He needs to be deplatformed. It's like, why are you gloating? Why are you celebrating Vince McMahon retiring? He's acting like this is a good thing. He is celebrating this. It's insane. Like, bruh, this version is happy, still saying he has the biggest smile on his face, like some Mark Virgin neckbeard. What is there to be happy about? This dude is coming off as the shows will get better. This company will get better. What evidence do you have of that? What proof do you have of that? I guarantee you this. Next week, he is still gonna go back to crapping on Raw. He's still gonna go back to crapping on NXT 2.0. He's still gonna go back to crapping on SmackDown. This will not change because he's a gimmick. He's a version, but he is a gimmick. The fact that he said Vince is finally gone, like this is a great thing? Like he thinks these shows will get better? On what planet Earth will these shows get better? If Vince is done with creative, well, by that logic, that means he's been done for a while now. We just haven't heard about it. Oh, let me say that once again. If he's done with creative, if he's retired, if he's done with everything, that means, for the past couple of weeks, that means he hasn't been in charge. That means he has been done. We just don't know about it. We just didn't hear about it. Right? Okay, by that logic, have you been impressed with Raw lately? Have you been impressed about SmackDown lately? Have these shows improved since Vince McMahon has stepped down from power? Have these shows improved? No. I'm still seeing the same main events. I'm still seeing the same rematches. What has changed since Vince McMahon has stepped down? Do y'all know what that means? He has stepped down. He stepped down weeks ago, right? Which means he has no more responsibilities, which means he hasn't been touching these shows for the past couple of weeks. So, by that logic, you haven't been impressed about Raw and SmackDown since he's stepped down. So, what makes you think, now that he's officially gone, what makes you think these shows are going to get better after he leaves? See, you're just being a goddamn clout chaser, wanting views, wanting likes, wanting retweets, wanting attention. See, I focus on logic. Logically speaking, since he stepped down, have these shows gotten better? Has NXT 2.0 gotten better? Has SmackDown gotten better? Has Raw gotten better? I'm still seeing the same main events. I'm still seeing the same rematches, the same storylines, the same logic in these shows. Now, I ain't saying these shows are bad or horrible. I'm just saying, since he stepped down, have these shows increased when it comes to quality? Have these shows gotten better? Since Vince McMahon stepped down, okay, since he's retired, dog, that means he's been done for a while. So let's go back to last Monday Night Raw. Right? Last time I checked, did you see that women's match where the 24/7 championship, it exchanged hands like, 5 times in 1 minute? So once again, have these shows gotten better? And will these shows get better? No. These shows will still be the same. I made a video about that. I said, when Vince McMahon leaves, I said Shane or Nick Khan or Stephanie will be in charge. Right? I said that in the video. I said when he leaves, they will be in charge. So I said Vince McMahon will only hand over the reins to somebody who shares the same creative vision as him. Right? Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan, they share the same creative vision as him. He got them in the business. Where do you think they got their knowledge from? Nah, from Triple H, obviously. So Stephanie McMahon got her knowledge about pro wrestling from Vince McMahon, her father. So, by that logic, these shows will still be the same. Because she is the female Vince McMahon, right? Like I said, whoever runs the WWF next, I said, it will be somebody who shares the same vision as a Vince McMahon. Case in point, last Monday Night Raw. These shows would not get better. What proof do you have of that? Dog, the writing team, the creative team will be the same. They will still share the same practices. They will still sign Hollywood writers who are not really huge fans of pro wrestling. The hiring practices will not change. Nothing will change. Only thing that's changed is Vince McMahon is not in charge anymore, but it's not going to make a difference because he put people in charge who share the same vision as him. The fact that Nick Khan wants to focus on growing homegrown talent, yes, that came from Vince McMahon, and Nick Khan co-signed it. Once again, Nick Khan got all his knowledge from Vince McMahon. His vision is very Vince McMahon-like, which means it's going to be like Vince McMahon is still there. Right? It's kind of like a job, right? Where, okay, when I used to work at my job, right? When I used to be a manager at Walmart, right? They always have you train employees. Whoever is the newest employee, I have to train them. And I have to train them within my image. Whatever it is I do, I have to make sure they do what I think is a good thing that they should be doing. On the job training, right? They trust me to train this employee based on my tenure. So which means everything he learns or she learns, it's on me. I train them. That goes for every job. Whoever trained you, most likely you are going to work exactly like them because they gave you the knowledge to do the job in the first place, right? There's a reason why Nick Khan was shadowing Vince. That's what it is. When I became a manager at my job, right, a couple of years ago, when I was training to be a manager, I had to shadow the next manager that I had to replace, which means I had to follow him around. I had to shadow him. Everything he taught me, I had to do. So whatever he teaches me, I have to do because that's what he taught me. So everything that I'm taught, it's on me, but it's also on him because he trained me in the first place. His rep is on my shoulders. If I suck, that might be a reflection on his poor training. That goes for every job. Nick Khan shares the same vision as Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon trained him. Vince McMahon trained Shane. Vince trained Stephanie. Y'all think Triple H trained Stephanie? Dog, Stephanie has been with that company ever since she was born, bruh. She has known Vince way longer than Triple H, obviously, right? So she shares the same vision as Vince McMahon. Where do you think she got it from? Her father, common sense. The WWF will be the same. But I'm getting tired, dude. I'm just getting sick of people I'm getting tired of people crapping on Vince. You can't be celebrating this dude retiring and saying this is a great thing for the WWF. That's very disrespectful. That's the equivalent of saying you hope Tony Khan retires so AEW can reach 1 million. Right? Y'all act like AEW is perfect. Dog, that show has potential to be great, but it's not. Right? By that logic, Raw has the potential to be great. But y'all think Vince was holding it back. Well, AEW, you can make the argument. Bruh, they have a stronger roster than Raw. You can make the argument that Dynamite actually has a stronger roster than SmackDown and Raw. How come the numbers don't reflect that though? Whose fault is that? Who in these shows? How come these shows can't reach 1.5, 1.2 million after 3 years on being on TV? Whose fault is that? Should Tony Khan step down? Because there's something he's doing wrong. There's something he's doing wrong if the numbers on Dynamite have not increased, have not changed ever since the Wednesday Night Wars were over. People expected that AW will reach 1 million some viewers per week once 2.0 went to Tuesdays. Once the black and gold brand from NXT changed to Tuesday nights, people thought that Dynamite would get better ratings. No, they have been the same. Exactly the same. They are unopposed. So what's their excuse? But the point is, how can you be happy about Vince leaving? It's like it's the equivalent of biting off the hand that feeds you. Look, man. All you nerds, all you dorks, right? All you people in my comment section and everywhere else who has wrestlers as your profile picture, like Sasha Banks, or John Cena or Daniel Bryan, people like that, right? You have all these stars as your profile picture. Okay, who made these stars, right? Vincent Kennedy McMahon made these people who they are, right? So by that logic, if it wasn't for Vince McMahon, you wouldn't be a stan for Sasha Banks, huh? If it wasn't for Vince McMahon, you wouldn't be a stan for Naomi. We wouldn't know who these girls are if it wasn't for Vince McMahon putting them on TV, being their writer, being their booker. He made them who they are, right? Like I don't get it. Tell me, who is your favorite wrestler of all time, right? Who is your favorite wrestler of all time? And I will guarantee you, Vince McMahon signed them to the WWF. Right? Who is your favorite wrestler? Is it Shawn Michaels? Okay. If it's Shawn Michaels, you gotta thank Vince McMahon. If it wasn't for Vince McMahon, we wouldn't know who Shawn Michaels is, right? We wouldn't know who he is. Vince McMahon was the guy that put up with Shawn Michaels crap in the damn 90s. Who's your favorite wrestler? Is it Kurt Angle? All right. You know where he came from? The WWF. You know who gave him a strong push? Vince McMahon. Who's your favorite wrestler? Is it Randy Orton? Who gave Randy Orton this monster push for the past 15 years? Vince McMahon. Who's your favorite wrestler? Is it Reigns? Who gave Roman this strong monster push these past 10 years? Vince McMahon. Who gave Seth this monster push? Vince McMahon. Dog, you see where I'm getting at? So you hate Vince McMahon even though your favorite wrestler is famous because of Vince McMahon. That's what I mean by you are biting off the hand that feeds you. If it wasn't for Vince, I wouldn't be a fan of wrestling. Are you serious? Of course not. See, what is your origin story on why you became a fan of pro wrestling? Right? Everybody's origin story ends and starts with Vince McMahon. Right? People say, oh, John Cena got me into wrestling. Okay, well, who was the guy who signed him and who was the guy who gave him this monster push for the past 20 years? Vince McMahon. Right? So you hate the guy who made and built your favorite wrestler in John Cena. Who made The Rock? Vince McMahon. If it wasn't for Vince McMahon, The Rock wouldn't be in Hollywood. Everything starts and ends with Vince. If Vince thought The Rock was a bum, we wouldn't know who he is. If it wasn't for Vince McMahon, Stone Cold Steve Austin wouldn't be your favorite wrestler. He helped make Steve Austin. Now, I hate that people are saying, especially that little midget from New York, saying this is the greatest moment in WWE history. Nah, bruh. The greatest moment in WWF history was when Stone Cold Steve Austin beat Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, because that was the dawn of a new era. That was the dawn of the new face of the WWF, which was Stone Cold Steve Austin. That win at WrestleMania with Tyson, that changed the landscape of pro wrestling forever. Dog. When it came to Eric Bischoff, he said that once the WWF signed Mike Tyson, he said, "Oh damn, we are done. The war is over. We can't compete with Mike Tyson." Right? Who did Mike Tyson work with? Stone Cold Steve Austin. But that is a different story. But the point is, I became a fan of wrestling because of Vince McMahon. Every origin story starts with Vince. Back in 92, I was at a VHS store. So I was at the VHS store with my mom and my father, right? And they told me, go walk around the store and see which tape you want to rent. And way back then, I didn't know what wrestling was. So I went to a section. I went to the sports section, and I seen all these tapes of the WWF and of WCW. And the first tape that I noticed was the 1987 Survivor Series. And the cover had Rick Rude, Hogan, the One Man Gang, Paul Orndorff, Bam Bam Bigelow, Andre the Giant, Don Morocco. Those were the guys that were on the cover. Big ass buff dudes. And that caught my attention. I'm like, hold on, what the hell is this? This looks very, very interesting. Then I saw Hogan in the middle. That dude looked like a damn character. He looked like a damn cartoon character. I'm like, whoa, what is this? This is it. I was like, bruh, this is some cool ass stuff. I want to watch it. So, who was the man who signed and hired all these men? Vince McMahon. Need I go on? So, by that logic, if it wasn't for Vince McMahon, I would know who these guys are. Vince saw star potential in all these men to put them on the cover. Rick Rude, Hogan, Paul Orndorff, all these guys, right? So Vince turned me into a damn fan of pro wrestling because he put those guys on the cover. If it wasn't for that video, I wouldn't be a fan today. That video got me into wrestling. 1987 WWF Survivor Series. That was the first wrestling show that I ever watched. I was hooked on wrestling ever since that video. Vince hired and signed everybody who was in that video. He hired and signed everybody who was on commentary, he signed the referees, he signed everybody who was on that show. Once again, why do you hate Vince McMahon? If it wasn't for Vince, you wouldn't be a fan. All right. Yeah, let's hype up Sasha Banks. Even though if it was for Vince McMahon, we wouldn't know who the hell she is. Enough with this, dude. That's why Vince is so cocky, because he knows if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be fans of wrestling. He put you in these seats. He made you buy merchandise. Right? He made you buy John Cena merchandise. Let me tell you a story about John Cena. You think Vince was a fan of Cena? No. During his first year on the main roster, Vince was not a fan of him. He thought he was clumsy. He thought Cena couldn't wrestle. But do you know the guy and the girl who put John Cena on? It was Jericho and it was Stephanie McMahon and Bruce Pritchard. It was those three people that influenced Vince McMahon on giving John Cena a monster push. Everything starts and ends with Vince. Why do you think Chris Jericho never says anything bad about Vince? Because if it wasn't for Vince McMahon, we wouldn't know who Jericho is within the WWF. He made him a legend. Vince made Jericho a legend. Dog, when Jericho first met Vince, Jericho said he was nervous as hell. In fact, Jericho actually hopped on some roids to impress Vince. Right? Dude, Vince McMahon literally made Y2J into a megastar. That's why Jericho would never say anything bad about Vince. Tons of other guys would never say anything bad about Vince McMahon. Because he made them millionaires. He made them stars. It's like, yeah, say what you want about Bret Hart. Once again, he is your favorite wrestler because of Vince McMahon. Why is Razor Ramon your favorite wrestler? Because of Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon was the one who saw potential in Razor Ramon within that gimmick. Why is The Undertaker your favorite wrestler? Who made that gimmick? Who made the character? It wasn't Mark Calloway. No, Vince McMahon made that gimmick. He made that character. See what I'm saying? Don't bite off the hand that feeds you. Vince McMahon has fed us, so I'm not going to bite off his hand if he made me a fan in the damn first place. Why is Brian Pillman my profile picture? Because Vince McMahon made him a household name. He made him a star. He signed him, right? He signed him. He made him a star. I wouldn't know. None of us would know who Brian Pillman is, man, if it wasn't for Vince McMahon. Because Brian Pillman, he was a low mid-card guy in WCW. He goes to the WWF and he becomes a legend, a star. He actually helped make the Attitude Era. Vince made Brian Pillman a star. So once again, Vince McMahon is the reason you have an all-time favorite wrestler. So why are you excited about him leaving a company that, if it wasn't for him, you wouldn't be a fan of, bro? That makes zero sense. What makes you think somebody is going to do a better job than him? A company that he built. It's like he's like Steve Jobs, right? He's like Steve Jobs. Like, what makes you think somebody's gonna run his own company better than him if it's his company? It's like, obviously Vince knew what he was doing. He made billions of dollars since his father gave him the company. It's like, I don't get you people. Now, I'm also hearing that Brock Lesnar left SmackDown. Now, I'm not surprised if he did or if he didn't. Because I know him and Vince have a great bond. Look, every time Brock comes back, he's doing a favor for Vince. It's just like working a regular job, right? Where eventually you build a bond with your boss to the point where your boss starts to call you in on your off days because he has that kind of trust in you. He thinks you are a great worker, so he will call you on your days off because he believes in your talent, in your work ethic. So by doing that, that kind of builds up a trust, that builds up a strong bond between boss and employee. That's how Vince and Brock are. When every time Brock comes back, he's doing a job. He's doing a favor for Vince McMahon because he likes Vince. He loves Vince. He's doing a favor for Vince every time Vince calls him from Canada. He's doing Vince a favor. So they have built up a bond. So it wouldn't really surprise me if Brock eventually retires soon, because he feels like, well, the only guy that was calling me to always come back was Vince, but now he's gone. It's like, will Stephanie McMahon call up Brock Lesnar all the time? I don't know. Will Stephanie McMahon call up Brock Lesnar like Vince has done within the past 10 years? Will she do it? Right? See, look, the only reason Brock was always coming back was because of Vince. He had a strong bond with Vince. He was solely doing it to please Vince. But now that he's gone, that will change everything now, man. But I'm not celebrating Vince retiring, man. It's like, I wasn't ready for him to retire. But I get it. Look, man, Vince, I love Vince, man. Vince is the reason I'm here. Vince is the reason I have a channel. Okay? Vince is the reason why I have a wrestling channel. If it wasn't Vince McMahon, I wouldn't be here talking wrestling. So, look, man, Vince had a great career, man. Great career. He is the greatest wrestling promoter of all time. He made the wrestling world what it is today. It's like, Vince is the best of all time. He's the best heel of all time. He is the greatest wrestling mind ever. So we should respect him, man. Don't disrespect him by celebrating that he's gone and you're glad he's not going to be running SmackDown Raw. Bruh, get a life, man. This is just wrestling. It ain't real life, man. This is a TV show. Get a goddamn life, man. I'm sad that Vince is gone, man. I'm sad. I was not ready for him to leave. You know what I'm saying? But Vince had a great career. We should be proud of the things he accomplished in wrestling. He made guys into millionaires. We should respect him, man. He is the reason you have a favorite wrestler. He's the reason why you have wrestling merchandise. He's the reason why there is a AEW. Because they wanted to be the alternative to the WWF. Okay, if it wasn't for the WWF, why is there an AEW? Why would you want to be the alternative to a company if you didn't respect them? Right? So we gotta respect Vince McMahon and everything he's done, man. If it was for him, there would be no Hulk Hogan. There would be no Andre. There would be no Rick Rude, Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. Who was putting up with Shawn Michaels' bullcrap? It was Vince McMahon. If Vince McMahon said, you know what, Shawn, you're fired. I'm tired of dealing with your garbage. Where would Shawn Michaels be at? Because I don't think Shawn Michaels would be a star in WCW. I'm just being real. I don't think he would have had that kind of power over Eric Bischoff. But that just goes to show you, Vince made pro wrestling, right? Once Bret Hart left for WCW, he was never the same again, right? Because Vince made Bret Hart what he is today, right? So, look, man, I'm sad that Vince gone, man. He had a great career, man. I congratulate Vince on a great Hall of Fame career, man. I'm done.